Hey guys, this is Madhav and I'm back with another video. In today's video, I will be talking about the paper 6E of your CA final, GFRS as an elective. So I'll be walking you through both the pros and the cons, and after seeing this video, you can decide whether you would like to choose this paper as your elective or not. So before we get into the topic, I would like to share with you a small statistics that I've known. So from what I've seen or what I've heard from the past trends, not many people choose this as an elective. Well, multidisciplinary case study is the least chosen elective or least opted paper in paper 6. And second least is GFRS. I do not know what stops people from choosing this subject. Well, maybe it's an inhibition that it's too vast or too complex to cover or, score in. But if those are your problems, then I'm here to demystify the same. But also, I'll be telling you the negatives of taking this paper. So at the end of the day, you get to decide on what you want to choose or not. So let's get started. Okay, so firstly, this paper GFRS, which is Global Financial Reporting Standards, deals with majorly these things that you can see on the screen. Firstly, there's the IFRS, International Financial Reporting Standards. Next comes the IFRICs. These IFRICs are more of interpretations or additional points that deal with certain specific scenarios which are in aid to the IFRS or the main standards. And then comes the carve-ins and carve-outs. I will explain what they are in a few minutes. And last is the US GAAP. So these are the four major things that are covered in your GFRS paper. So what do we read in our FR? In our FR paper, we read about Ind AS. Ind AS is nothing but the accounting standards that we've adopted and which we are following in India, and it is just an adoption of the IFRS. So it is not a complete copy paste of IFRS, but instead we have made fine tuning to make the changes to suit the Indian framework, and that results in something called as a carve-ins and carve-outs. So there are certain things that are present in the Ind AS which is not there in IFRS, and vice versa. So that is the major difference, which means when you're studying for a financial reporting paper 1 in CA final, you are also automatically covering all the IFRS, almost all of it at least. So what is new in GFRS? In GFRS, there is only the IFRICs, which is very rarely tested, and the US GAAP, which is tested for a very few marks. That's the only things that are additional than your financial reporting paper. So now let's go into the pros and cons of the paper. So firstly, why would I suggest you to choose GFRS as an elective? So the first point is what made me choose it. I had no other second thoughts. So I've always loved accounting and anything related to accounts since schooling. So if you like or love FR, then GFRS is the best bet. So this will be the awesome elective that you can choose and just go about it without any second thoughts. Second point is there's no extra time or effort that's required because there's not much that is new. That is just like what I explained. You'll anyway have to study almost all the Ind ASs, which are just nothing but the adoptions of the IFRS. So there is not anything much that to study new except for the carve-ins, carve-outs, US gaps, and the IFRICs, like I mentioned earlier. Then this also aids in your preparation for FR. So if you ask me, it was almost like I studied for 200 marks of FR because I had 100 marks of FR in my group 1 and 100 marks of the GFRS in my group 2. And trust me, guys, if you're doing it both with the same amount of understanding, passion, and you are able to present it with the proper conviction, you'll be able to score an exemption in both, like I did, because I was able to score 61 and a 62 in FR as well as GFRS, respectively. So it really helps in your preparation to stay more focused and delve deeper into the FR study materials. And this does not require any separate study material or study text. Coming to that, until last year, there were no separate materials for the subject of GFRS, unlike your economic laws or international taxation or financial service and capital markets or the risk management, where each of these papers did have some kind of a study text or a book that was published by the ICAI. GFRS was one paper that never had any separate material, but we were always asked to refer our FR materials for that. So it's just that you're reading your FR in a more deeper manner or in-depth fashion. And lastly, there are higher chances of questions just getting picked up straight away. Okay, so I have a few examples to illustrate and show you because this is something that I've understood and I've seen as a trend that has been followed. So whenever there is a complex question or a new question that is introduced in the GFRS paper, that is automatically picked up and subsequently given in the subsequent attempt of the FR paper in either in the RTP or in the MTP or in an actual question paper. So let's just look at a few examples for this. So firstly, if you look at your November 19 GFRS paper, so this is the November 19 GFRS paper in which this is the third case study. There are several instances that I've noted like this, and a few of them I'm just sharing with you right now as a glimpse to, for you to understand what I'm saying. So this is case study 3, and here we're talking about group companies of Gamma Limited, G Limited, D Limited, and GD Limited, right? So this is a question about that. And then there is this tabular column that gives you certain details based on which you'll be asked to calculate EPS as per Ind AS 33. So this is just the same question. Okay, so this is in your November 19 GFRS question paper. Now, subsequent attempt, May 20, FR RTP had exactly these two questions in this fashion. If you can see, this is an exact copy paste from that of the GFRS paper, right? So there's 110 in days. They're asking you to explain and elaborately mention about the group company and its framework, about control and the presentation and preparation of consolidated financial statements. And then here comes the question regarding EPS. So this is one example. So this is why I said it aids in preparation of FR also. So it's almost like you're preparing for 200 whole marks. And the other thing that I mentioned, that questions get straight away picked up. By that I meant to say this. So this is your May 19 GFRS question paper. In this, if you can see this question out here, this one talks about government grants. So this is about a government grant and whether it's related to an asset or related to an income, or how we're supposed to present it, all about Ind AS 20. Ind AS 20 is the same as your IAS 20 when it comes to your IFRS. So it talks about export promotion of capital goods scheme. This question is exactly available in your test your knowledge section of Ind AS 20 in your FR study material. If you can go down to the third question, like you see it down here, right? So again, this is a verbatim repetition of the same question in your GFRS question paper. So by this, I just would like to tell you that there is a lot of overlapping between the two. I'm not saying that always questions would have to come straight away, in certain pattern or in a trend, but then there is a trend that exists. It might be changed later, but at least it gives you an overall understanding and a holistic picture of both FR and GFRS clubbed together. And then also, to just add on, in my November 20 exams, when I saw certain MCQs or certain questions, at least worth 15 to 20 marks, they were just straight away lifted and picked up from the Institute study material, FFR. So based on that, I was able to straight away write the answers for both the MCQs as well as descriptive questions. And it helped me to quote the phrases or the wordings, the keywords in a better fashion, because it was an open book and you have the book right next to you, right? Now let's go to the cons, or why not to choose GFRS as an elective. So it's just the opposite of the first one. And if this point is, right with you, then I just don't think there's any point in choosing the elective, because if you really do not like FR itself, or you're finding FR itself quite difficult, or too much of a burden or stressful or complex, then it's no point in choosing GFRS. It's just going to be double trouble for you. Same way, if you do not want a spillover of any of the group 1 content. So a lot of people choose international taxation as an elective because it just immediately before, your direct tax, so that you can prepare also for your direct tax in a way. That is a strategy used by some, whereas some others choose the other electives. But then if you're going to take GFRS, it's like something that's totally related to FR. So if your group 1 goes well or does not go well, and it might also have an impact on group 2, because your group 2 has SCMP, DT and IDT plus the elective. So this elective that you can choose can either be something like an GFRS or an economic loss that's going to be, intertwined with that of something in the group 1, or something completely different like that of multidisciplinary, or your international taxation. So that again is your choice. If you do not want to mix up the two, or don't want any spillover from group 1's content or stuff into your group 2, then you need not choose GFRS. And if you do not want another practical paper, like say you're okay with doing economic loss, or just some international taxation, which might require minimal calculations or a lot more of provisions in theory based, then you can go for those papers, and you didn't break your head with more of the sums and bare standards of IFRS or international level standards to read and interpret and then write or solve sums and all of that. Lastly, if you're finding IFRS domain in itself to be very vast and voluminous, which I do agree it is, and in that case, I don't think it's something good for you to choose as an elective, right? So this is just a very small briefing that I thought I would do about how I've faced or how I felt GFRS to be during my phase of preparation. So I've given you both the pros and the cons. So it's now in your hands to choose whether you want to take up this elective as yours or not during your CA final exams. Okay, so all the very best for your exams and good luck, guys. And in case you want me to make more videos on any other topic or something else, please do mention in the comment box below. Or if you want to know more about GFRS or how to prepare or go about with it, please do feel free to reach out to me in any of my social media handles. Thank you so much, guys. Good luck.